Shalom is real. Shalom is real. Back once again. This is the Israelite School. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out on 1 West 125th Street, all in New York. We are under commanding Juliano. We've been teaching this truth since 1969 that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true or confused of the Bible. And that our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And, I can get anything, I can eat whenever y'all ready to eat, man. But again, this is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out on 1 West 125th Street, all in New York. We are under commanding Juliana. We've been teaching this truth since 1969 that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true biblical Jews of the Bible. And that our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Who is the oppressor? The so-called conquistadors, Esau, the Portuguese, the French, the sons and the daughters of the slave master. These make up the oppressor, along with the other nations also oppressed. Also oppressed the children of Israel. And tonight is usually on Monday nights. We usually have scripture breakdown / history class. Tonight you can call it history class, but tonight is the closing of the feast of Purim. Yesterday we had Officer around here go to the store. I think he left off around 8, but I'll backtrack. I'll go to verse chapter 7 and recap just a little bit, not too much, and cover a couple of verses that he already previously covered, just so we don't be 100% lost in the closing here. You understand? But if you could just get Esther and continue. And this story is dynamic in this. Like today's cinema, you have the woman warrior. They make the woman the warrior. They make the woman the superhero. They make the woman, what do they call it? Well, growing up, I heard the term sister soldier, right? That's the term I heard a lot growing up, or what have you. What makes a sister so-called soldier is not her deciding to be masculine. That's not a strong black woman. You know what I mean? We're going to get some of this Bible though. Bear with me 1 second. So, brother, we'll go to we're going to go. So you got to drop around 7, so we'll start at 7 to continue the story of Esther. And remember this, right? Remember, the sister used her charm and her her feminine nature to get things done here. You got to keep that in mind, sisters. Everybody want to talk about being Ruth, being Esther, being adventurous women. Yet, they lack the traits of a woman that knows how to actually use that feminine character to walk. That feminine character to obtain something righteous, or to get that righteous result that they're looking for. Look at the definition of feminine. A lot of these bitches is monsters. Don't know how to talk to a brother. Don't know how to talk to a sister. Don't know how to even talk to a child. Don't even know how to be a mother to a child. There's a guy. How do you be a monster? How do you be a monster to a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old? having qualities or an appearance traditionally associated with women or girls. Get some more. Get some more. It might be hard to find that definition into 2023, whatever the coin was. I don't use good definition of it. Here we go. I got a good one. Having qualities regarded as characteristic of a woman and girls, as gentleness. You understand? Gentleness, yeah, so more that's how you want to understand. Modesty, delicacy. These are traits that the sister had. She didn't go out there and put a whole goddamn male armor on and a sword and all that madness and go out there. She used a charm. She used her feminine characteristics, as the brother explained yesterday. We're going to go to Esther, the 7th chapter. We'll read down. A lot of you dumb bros don't know how to keep a man because you're a goddamn monster. You don't know. You think being, you know, try being delicate, try being sweet, try being kind for once, and not so goddamn bitter all the damn time. The black woman in today's society doesn't know what it means to be virtuous, doesn't know what it means to be gentle and kind and sweet and delicate and tender, right? We don't understand the value of it. One shows you the value of being a virtuous woman and being kind and delicate and using the wisdom of your superiors of Israel. And 47 all the way down through 9, and we'll finish the story. So the king Haman, this is verse 7 by the way, came to the banquet with Esther the queen, and the king said again unto Esther, on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is the petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted you. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed even to the half of the kingdom. 3. And Esther, the queen, answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, and my people to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Meaning what? Death wasn't an option in the sister's mind. Rather offer of bondage. Right? And look at the context of how she's speaking to her superior in this context. You understand? How she's asking for this favor. Even though he's wicked, even though he's a heathen, she understands how to speak and how to use her charm and her feminine nature, her feminine characteristics to save us. Not a sword, Not no running in there, kicking the door down with some, being theatrical like a goddamn movie, using that feminine trait. And the king, now, I always fumble this dude name, so it's going to sound crazy when I say this dude. Ahasuerus, I think it's Ahasuerus, answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said, the adversary and the enemy is the wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. 7. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went to the palace garden. Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther, the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. And the king returned out of the place of garden to the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen unto the bed, whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, he covered Haman's face. And her, verse 9, and her Harbonah, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai. Like this was he made a particular structure in order to kill one of ours, Mordecai, the brother. You understand? The family member of Esther. You understand? Who had, like the very structure that he had built to kill the brother. Now he looking at it like that's going to be his fate. You understand? You see how things work? Use a charm, use a feminine character for this now. And things are going well at this point, all right? Mordecai had spoken good for the king, standing in the house of Haman. The king said, hang him thereon. Damn. This dude made a joint for his brother Mordecai, and then the king want to turn around and use it on him at the queen's request. That's how you use your feminine character trait. You know what I mean? Rather than the brother die, this person gets the woman. 10. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. Yeah. We don't understand how great the sisters don't understand how great that, how powerful it is for a woman to stay in that feminine spirit. And to not be bitter, and to not even she had every reason to be bitter. She had every reason to be a monster, right? She had every reason. But she used that feminine character. She used that feminine character trait. Okay. Let this brother know. Try and leave that out. All right. We gonna read on. We're gonna read on. Just to reiterate that our chapter though, before we go to 8, 9, and close this thing out. We're gonna read all of 8 and all of 9 That'll be there. We might be there at 10 also. But this is the key moment where things got turned around. It is like a key turning point here. And really, Esther could have even, because look, Esther went into the chamber. Esther went in the chamber, and in the king's quarters, which was kind of out of order. But even in her being out of order, she's a charm and her feminine characteristics to try to gain this request to save her people, and in her meekness and her gentleness. Yeah, that's it. So, Slocky on that. Slocky. But yeah, she was even in her so-called, you know, how can I say, like even in that small error, but the error was necessary for her to take in order to save the Negroes. You know what I'm saying? In order to save the nation at this time. You know, because we were going to be slain. You know what I mean? Went in the chamber, humbled herself. Hey, look, this is going on. I ain't gonna say like I'm gonna say, but you know, after her, she requested that not even for them to be free or what have you, just for them, and rather than death, be bondmen and bondwomen. You know what I mean? You know, oh, who was upsetting, you know, the queen, the one he cherishes, this meek woman, this kind and gentle, delicate woman coming to me, pleading this request. Who made my woman upset? This, you know what I'm saying? You know, and pointing them out. This is the turning point. Not theatrical, not putting on the show. Just in order weakness and delicateness and tenderness, tender request, right? Chapter 8. On that day, the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen, and Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther said, Mordecai, over the house of Haman. 3. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet. You see that? You see that this is the king here is a heathen. she still in her place, fell down at their feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman, the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. For the king held out the golden scepter. Visualize. Visualize this here. What does a king hold? Staff, scepter. This is a gesture of authority, power. Hold up. His was made of gold. Good night. Right? I lost my place. Held up the golden. I lost my goddamn place. I got scepter towards Esther. So Esther pointed. Like pointed at something. So she arose and stood before the king, verse 5, and said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight. I mean, yo, this is how you talk. This is how a woman should. I mean, you ain't gotta be all quick and Englishy with it when you talk to your husband or your man or a person in authority or in general. How would you say, hey, sir, if you don't mind, could we do this? It's like, he said, if it pleases you, if it pleases you, if I find favor in that sight, and the thing seemed right before, and if it seems right to you, it's like, yo, this is how a woman uses those feminine, again, those traits, that being delicate, delicacy, tender, right? Knowing how to speak, being wise and selective in her tongue and her speech. That's how a woman. That's how you learn that a woman is wise in her speech. In this case here, you see how she's talking to this man, and not be pleasing in his eyes. Let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hamad, Hamadath, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, all are in all the king's provinces. 6. Furthermore, they trying to backtrack the orders that this dude can put out to kill brothers and sisters. You understand? For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? The king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. 8. Write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you, in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. Oh, you hear that? This is who you are, Christianites. You don't understand. You don't understand the Bible. One, you don't understand the Bible. Seals and signatures all throughout history. That's another topic. Maybe we'll speak on that next week. But his signet, his seal, in that ring, stamp that letter of approval. And we're going to cease this plan to destroy and to kill the Jews here. King's order at the time, you understand? Took that ring, put it on that, pressed it in that, put it in the ink, pressed it on the paper, whatever the letter may be, and they got to follow that order. Why? Why is that? Because the sister know how to talk. The sister know how to Be gentle in her speech. Be delicate and tender in her speech and her requests. These bitches out, these women out here don't even know how to talk to a man. Don't know how to talk to a man. Did talk about the man to everybody. And they want to call themselves a prophetess. They want to call themselves a virtuous woman. You's a bitch. That's what you are. You's a goddamn monster. You ain't no Esther. You ain't no Ruth. You ain't no prophetess. You ain't none of that. You's a bitch and a monster. You don't know how to talk to them. You don't know. You don't even. You don't even think. You think being like women today think being feminine and tender and they call them dumb bit. Oh, you's a dummy. You's they call them a woman like this a dummy. She didn't save all the niggas. What the hell are you talking about? You's the dummy. You would have got everybody killed with your mouth because you don't know how to speak. You don't know how to be disciplined in your tongue, right? Yeah, I think we don't understand how valuable the black women don't understand how valuable it is to be feminine. They worried about being a bad bitch. They worried about being a boss bitch, right? They worried about being a strong black woman and independent this. Independent from what? You're being independent from wisdom. Being independent from order and structure. That's to understood the order, understood the structure, understood what it meant to be feminine and gentle, even to an even. So much so that the people, were spared. Talking about use a goddamn prophetess, use a bitch. Excuse the lingo, whatever. He sealed it with the king's ring. Made no man reverse. Like, this is top secret documents. This can't be reversed. This can't be overturned. This can't be vetoed. Whatever, I don't, whatever that means. Vetoed, this can't be reversed. You understand? Don't touch these people right here. Don't touch these people right here. You understand? 9. Then were the king's scribes called at the time in the 3rd month. That is the month Sivan on the 3 and 20th day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and to the deputies and rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia, and 120. I remember back in the day they was showing me the map. I don't got a map in here. It was showing the map of how far that letter went. It was vast. Right? 127 provinces unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. 10. And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name and sealed it with the king's rank, and sent letters by post and horseback and riders and mules. So they sent them out, man. We gotta get this message out. I said, do you have power here? King had power. He sent them on horseback mule. Make sure, this the order that the heathen, the hater, Mordecai's hater, make sure that order get dealt with, get reversed, gets vetoed. You understand? He vetoed his joint. Okay? Wherein the king granted the Jews, which were in every city, to gather themselves together and stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and providence that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. 12. Upon one day in all the province of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar. 13. A copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against the day to avenge themselves on their enemies. 14. So the post of the rod upon mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's command. And the decree was given at Shushan, the palace. 15. And Mordecai went out for the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. 16. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. 17. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness and feasting and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. It's not the Lord was on our side. The Lord was on our side. Why? Because the sister wasn't a goddamn bitch like you bitches out there in the world. She knew how to talk. She knew how to talk to her husband. Even though her husband was a filthy, disgusting heathen, she fell to his feet and said, if it pleases you, if you view me as anything, I mean, god damn. My sisters, oh y'all always talk, oh y'all always coming down on a woman. We bigging up a woman. We bigging up this sister. Man, we bigging up the sister. They got a problem with us bigging up the sister that did it the right way. You got a problem with that because she's a bitch. Because she's a monster. These Christian bitches is disgusting. Okay? Where was I at? Shoot, huh? Bear with me 1 second. You know what I'm saying? So that letter went out. Everybody feeling good, man. We good, we safe, we solid, yo. Joy and honor, gladness, it said. What we just read. All right. Let me go into chapter 9. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long tonight. You know, we got the bulk of it last night. Verse 17. A feast and a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews. Oh, we read that verse, chapter 9. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, and the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, thought it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. 2. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the province of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them. The Lord was with them, you understand. For the fear of them fell upon all people, and all the rulers of the provinces, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and officers, and the king helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. 5. The Jews smote all their enemies, sword and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would to those that hated them. And in Shushan, the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. And Parshan the third, and Dalphon, and Aspatha, verse 8, and Horatha, and Adaliah, and Aridatha, 9, and Parmashtha, and I think these Hebrews name, and Arizai, and Aridai, and Vajaz, Vajizatha, Salaki, excuse that, the old Quaker translation. 10, verse 10. Then 10 sons of Ammon, the sons of Hamadatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they, but on the spoil laid they not their hand. 11. On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan, the palace, was brought before the king. 12. And the king said unto Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, the palace. And the 10 sons of Ammon, what have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. Or what is thy request further? And it shall be done. And she got this cat in the palm. You see how sisters don't get it. Sisters, she got this man in the palm of her hand. You think being a goddamn monster wanna swindle your mind or what have you. Being a monster, talking down. Not only talking down to him, you run around town talking about to your friends, your family, his family. You don't understand. You don't understand what it is to be feminine. All you learn is to be a bitch. (15) For the Jews were in. Hold up. I keep losing my damn spot. We're in the 12. He's like, anything else you want? You said anything else you want. Damn. And it shall be granted thee. Well, what is thy request further? And it shall be done. 13. Then said Esther, if it please the king, if it pleases you, I mean, even him asking her, what does she want? And her response is, if it pleases you, sir, this is what I want, but only if it pleases you. Man. let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do to tomorrow also according unto this day's decree. And let Haman 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. Dang. Hang your sons. 14. And the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. 15. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan, but on the prey they laid not their hand. 16. But the other Jews that were in the king's province gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000. But they laid not their hands on their prey. 17. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. You hear that? So drink up, eat up, the Purim and remembrance of this. You understand? We're going to read on. We're going to read all the way down. Right? 18. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. 19. Therefore the Jews of the village that dwelt in the unwelled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, of sending portions one to another. And 20. And Mordecai wrote these things, and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far. 21. To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same year, yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor. 23. The Jews understood to do as they had begun, as Mordecai had written unto them. 24. We're almost done. Y'all. Almost set. I know it's a lot. Because among the son of Hamadatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. He devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. 25. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by the letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows, which we just read. He didn't build that. He built that joint for the Jews and Mordecai and other brothers. And look what happened. See what the Lord did? See what the Lord did? Those on our side right here. 26. Wherefore they called these days Purim. That's where we at. Keep these customs out here. Aqua here. You know what I mean? We keep them here in Israelite School UPK. We teach you. Just have you follow these stories. We put on our culture all the way. You understand? Put on your culture all the way. Sisters, you put on no feminine character all the way. All the way. You see how glorious it became in this sense? For real? Come on. After the name of Christ. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of all that which they have had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, 27 of the Jews ordained took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as join themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing. Yesterday was the first, today is the second. This is Purim. We feast, and we remember what took place on these days at this time. You understand? We remember. All right? And according to the appointed time every year, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of the parish from their seed. 29. And Esther their queen, the daughter of Abba, Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim. 30. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 province of the king of Ahasuerus, with words of peace and truth. 31. To confirm these days of Purim and their times appointed according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matter of the fasting and their crop. 32. And that the queen Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book. All right. We'll read 10, and I'll elaborate a little bit more on a couple things. Right. And the king Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land. It was upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power, and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the king advanced him. Are they not written in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Medah and Persia? 3. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto the king Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people and speaking peace to all his seed. That's the Purim for you. Black man, Spanish man, Native, and everything. That's the Purim right there. That's what we do in here. Everybody else, they worry about Easter right now. Everybody else worry about Easter. And what Simon say to celebrate now? Simon says celebrate St. Patrick's Day next. What you gonna do? You gonna jump? You gonna jump? Why is that? Yes, sir. Bear with me. Bear with me, class. One second. Bear with me one second, guys. One second, class. Bear with me 1 second, guys. It's a lot on that class today. Could cost a lot, man. But no, yeah, a lot of you women should learn from this day how valuable your feminine characteristics are. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to let go of being a bitch, being a monster. But this is a prime example of how valuable you being in order is. You understand? She listened to Mordecai. Listen to his wisdom, his guidance, his understanding. You don't even recognize and understand. How can we when we too busy trying to be a part of the work? That's what our sisters is busy trying to do. This sister, she sighed and cried. She sighed and cried in such a humble and tender and delicate way. So tender and delicate, but the Lord was now on our side. Huh? She listened to the guidance, for the order, for the structure from Mordecai, and because of that, we reigned supreme at this time. We was on top. We was spared. Not only that, we got some kick. We got some, you know, we was on top. Israel was holding it down. You understand? This is Purim. We gonna remember this day. Our enemies remember their days. Why can't we remember our days? We don't even know we got feast days. We don't even know these is black stories. You know, being triumphant over our enemies. We don't even understand that. We don't understand. We don't understand the Hanukkah. We don't understand how glorious the Passover is, which is coming up April the 1st in Raleigh, North Carolina. We don't understand how glorious and triumphant, our feast days really are. Why? Because we're busy celebrating Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, New Year's Eve. I mean, whatever Simon says celebrate next, Simon is the so-called oppressor. We don't know that. We don't understand. We don't understand these things, yo. When we gonna wake the hell up, black man? When we gonna put on our real culture, our real, the full flavor of us? We watered down out here, man. We watered down out here, talking about we woke this, we woke that. You woke according to the heathens way. You ain't woke according to this law. Woke according to this Bible. Correct. Eat up, drink up, and remember Israel being triumph, you know, being triumphant in these days. We are the ISUPK out of one West, only to the district of New York. I'm commanding General new rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world after 6 months. If a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, or she must, in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from their head to marry. Tithes. Pay your tithe, bro. Pay your tithes. If you ain't paying your tithes, you're a filthy, disgusting sinner. You should stop that and pay those tithes. Tithes is a commandment. Put that bread in the storehouse, right? Put the bread in the storehouse, right? Let that be the foundation. You can find this in Numbers and all throughout the Bible. Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means tenth in the Hebrew, and it's pronounced Ma'aishara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you to the Treasury Department or teacher. Anytime you get paid, anytime you cash out, that 10% of that bread, 10% of that increase goes to the Lord. You put it in that storehouse, you understand? Please front for your heart. Please, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. Remind Akim and Akwafian to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, and headbands or scarf. The next up and coming holy convocation is the Passover. If you are unaware, Raleigh, North Carolina, and many festivities prior to this feast day. You get down there early if you like to enjoy those festivities. All black party, uh, kids parties, other events. You can check it out. ISUPK.com is all in. So be in the building. So with that, this is going to conclude tonight's stream. That's Shalom Israel.